haven't heard anything.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I haven't dealt with her since probably I haven't needed anything since I finished the planner. She had helped me with the planner that we put on Amazon. She helped with that. So that was the last project we did. I haven't really used her for anything up until this point. How are you communicating with her?
Where the last time I'm speaking of now was I've been reaching out to her by email. The last time we had I got on her calendar, so maybe I'll just try that again.
Okay, yeah. Did she have like an event count, like a calendar we could schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start there. She'd probably be more responsive to that. Once you realize you're serious, she probably get a lot of people just inquiring and don't, know who's serious and who not.
Well, I mean, I sent her, you know what I'm saying? I sent her the information she asked for, and she responded back to that. And then after that, I hadn't heard from her. So then I reached back out and I still haven't. So I'll just try to set an appointment again.
Okay. Yeah. But it's some other ones. If she don't work out for you, I got some more for you if that's what you really need.
Okay.
She's not the only one, she's just a good one. And that's probably why she's busy. Because she's really good and really thorough. Yeah. So Sonia, how you making out?
Well, I decided to do a little different approach with the assisted living or group home or family care home. They're all called different things in different states. So the home that I reside in, I have 3 empty beds. So I decided to put 4 people in the home where I live now to get my assisted living going. So I have contracted with Community Living Services. They are going to send me 1 person, and that 1 person have 70 hours where staff have to provide ADLs for that person. And then that person also assists with half of rent and half of utilities. I can hire a staff to assist also with that person. That's totally up to me. And I also have a contract with the VA where I will be getting 3 more people. So I will have 4 people total.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah. A lot of times when I talk to people, when they kind of struggling to find a property, I always ask them, I say, how about, your personal residence? Starting there if you can, like if you in a property that it'll work, because it's just a perfect way to start for me. You know what I mean? That's how we did our first one. So it just makes so much sense to, even if I wouldn't necessarily advise it more renting a house from somebody than, the house that you renting and then trying to do that. But if you buying your first home or something like that, it's always I think that's a good thing to do with your first property, especially if you're already in the industry. So yeah, that's really a great news, a good update. I'm really excited for you. So you're planning on working both cases as they come in, as the clients come in, and just hire when you need to?
Yeah, I'm going to hire 1 full-time staff, and she would be able to assist with the 4 clients. Because they don't need a lot of hands-on. They're like semi, independent. They basically can do for themselves. So I would just need like 1 staff, and then I'm going to be the midnight staff, the person that's like sleeping, sleep in.
Okay, great. So tell me, what's the arrangement do you have, if you don't mind sharing, with the pricing? What did y'all work?
Well, with the first client, like I say, she is going to assist with paying half of all utilities and then half of the rent. And then I am going to get paid It's $2,500 every 2 weeks for her. And then the staff I bring in, they're going to pay them $17 per hour.
Okay.
And then with the VA, it depends on the level of care with them, but the least amount that you can get for that person is $2,000 per month. But with the VA, they provide all medical care. Like they would come in and do all the assessments, all whatever level of care they need, the VA would come in and do that for the people.
Okay, good. Perfect. So that and those numbers work well for you, right?
Yep, they work pretty good. Yep,
Okay,
they work pretty good, because the first person, that's what, $4,000 just for that one person
Okay.
a month.
Perfect. Yeah, and I mean that's just testimony for people who don't. Man, I think I went to the next slide on accident. Did all that and I gotta go back out. So that's great, because a lot of people don't. When I say you can get 4,000 a month or 3,500 or 2,500 is the minimum, people like, man, you crazy, ain't nobody paying all that. And it's like, like, bro, I'm telling you, okay, don't I mean, I can't, I ain't gonna force you to believe me, but it's real. And you really about to see, some real benefits of having this specialized information, because it's not like you had to go learn any, a whole bunch of stuff. It's just having the information, you know what I mean? And then you doing it with your own property. That's another thing. It's like, you could have been did it, and it's like, it just took for you to get to this point with the right information. And, and I congratulate you for that. And we're gonna go ahead and get started if there's no questions or comments up to this point. Oh, I got one more thing to get together real quick. So the importance of a business plan when you start your assisted living can come very handy. Can be very handy in the beginning if you're looking for outside investors, or you're looking for someone to let you use their property to get set up in. So like we had mentioned, reaching out to landlords and different real estate investors and stuff like that to get them to give you the access to their property, or let you lease their property for a little bit over, or a significant amount over market rent, and lock in a long-term lease and then pay them an extra based on occupancy. All of that can be structured in the business plan and presented to them. You could outline all the different things that you gonna offer, all your services and everything, and then you can put the numbers right there for them. Let me pull up a business plan real quick for you guys can see. What I'm referring to. Just a sample.
Do we have access to your business in the box? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, but no, this is the living business plan, but I can't get it right. This thing be giving me.
Okay.
This app. It's like it don't let me leave the screens. Let me see here. Okay. Stop share. Okay. So I can go to another screen and pull up the business plan, so y'all can just get a quick idea of yeah, y'all should both have these documents. I'm just pulling them up for the sake of conversation, but y'all have access to these already. It's nothing new. All the stuff I'll be showing y'all is stuff y'all probably seen 1,000 times. Truthfully. But again, until you ready to do it, or until you get to an opportunity where you can actually implement it, it's irrelevant. See if I can get back to that zone. Let's share this. Boop. Y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
See. And all of this is you already have. I just want to show you some stuff here on the financials, just because this is what the investors want to see, like how you going, what is you about to do, like how. So here you go. The monthly fee for level 1 will be $2,500 for a private room, $2,250 for a semi-private. The monthly, that's for level 1. For level 2 will be $2,700 for private and $2,500 for semi-private. That's a semi-private. Obviously, you know what that means. There's somebody else in there with you. And level 3 is $3,000 for private room and $2,700 for semi-private. And then you just break down all your information, like everything that you're gonna be offering, all the staff, your licensing information, like everything that you need for yourself. You also when you're creating this business plan for the and you could use these templates right here. These are just other people that we don't work with, but you could use this stuff to recruit potential investors if you're trying to go into a property, or you see a property that you like and you can't necessarily close on it yourself. You could bring an investor in, and then and the first thing they want to see is a business plan. And it's not as straightforward. I haven't personally used it for like traditional banks and stuff like that, like traditional mortgages, or I never use that option, like to go in the bank and say, hey, look, I'm trying to buy this property for this reason. It's just either it's just a traditional 30-year mortgage, and then we'll close and then we do what we want. So I never really used the business plan to get a property. But when you're working with investors, that's a whole different story. It's like, they're more receptive and they can hear you, and they can, you can sit down and you can kind of sell them on what you got going on. And then most of the time you just got to realize that they're going to invest in you more so than the business plan. They just want to know and believe and, have confidence that you can actually pull it off. So by you having your first one, and then, you got the residents coming in now, then Valerie already has hers. So to do number 2, you would be able to, the first one, obviously, that you already have residents in, and then, had a business plan, and you could kind of show them, like, look, I've done it before. I'm already seasoned as a operator. I just want to do another property to expand the business. So, so then you look at here, like down here, it gets into a lot of the financials. So the salaries and all this stuff is just general numbers. These are, you can change them around. This is older too. So inflation, then, all of this stuff is more now. So just looking at this stuff, giving you guys a chance to just kind of glance over it. But yeah, this is it. This is it. This is what a business plan looks like for your assisted living, and it's something that you can easily just throw together. I mean, take your time with it, obviously, but something you can put together, and people will really benefit. Or the I'm just struggling over here with this Zoom today. The investors will really be excited to see that stuff when you present it that way, and just instead of running up on somebody like, hey, yeah, I got this idea, you want to make sure you got some. Oh, it did work. Okay, it's working there. So share that. Another thing that happens in the state of Maryland. So what if you don't mind me asking, Sonia, tell me what were the requirements for them to allow you to get residents there in those properties? Were there any things that you had to do, anything special that you had to do?
Well, first I had to do an FBI clearance and get a TB test. And then they came and looked at the space, and they told me if I had enough to have how many people in the room. And that was basically it. And I just went over all the type of services and everything, which I would be providing, which would just be, light housekeeping, all meals, 2 snacks.
Mm-hmm. 5
And
meals, so
then,
like 3 meals and 2 snacks. Yeah, that's consistent.
right. I'm not doing transportation because I can't bill Medicaid right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go through that process, and that was basically it.
And you getting your residents from where exactly? You said one from the VA, but then the first one is
One came from community housing, community living services.
Okay.
You have to get you have to sign up to become a provider with them.
Okay.
And then once you become a provider, you will have to, fill out the application and everything. And then they do a reference check on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you communicate with the social worker, and then that's who will give you placements, the social worker.
So there wasn't any licensing process? So
no, it's unlicensed.
Okay.
In Michigan, you do not have to be licensed unless you have 4 or more people.
Okay. So 4 or more. So you can only have 3?
No, I can have 4. I can have up to 4 people.
Unlicensed.
Right, unlicensed. And if I was to get the 5th person, then I would have to be licensed.
Oh, okay. So once you get to that 5th person, then you get, okay, that's perfect. So yeah, so you didn't just in just one or 2 phone calls, you didn't basically started your whole situation. So what made you call them? Like what made you decide to give them a call?
Well, I've had a lot of contacts because I'm a social worker myself.
Oh, okay.
So I know, a lot of different organizations because I've been a supervisor working for another agency that is doing assisted living. So I already knew where to, who to get the people from and the contacts and stuff like that. But I just didn't know about the funding side of it because when I worked for this other organization, I didn't have anything to do with the funding.
Okay. Great. That's great stuff. So what happens here in Maryland and a lot of other states, there's a training that you have to go through. Valerie, you went through the 80-hour training, correct?
Yes.
So Maryland requires you to do 80 hours of training, and it's really, it's really intense. You're going to learn a lot. They walk you through a lot of things that basically everything. I mean, if you got a good trainer, so I could definitely say that. I've been to trainers, so I've been in multiple classes for my own reasons, just for knowledge and just learning from different people and seeing what different trainers offer. And some trainers are so totally different, even though they may be state certified to do the training, don't mean they all the same. So some of them are really thorough, and some of them just give you a brush over, and you'll walk away with a lot of questions, and you'll have your 80 hours certification, but if you don't go to the right person, you're not ready. So picking the right person, asking for references and stuff like that is always important when it's time to find a training, even if you're going after even if they are state certified to give the training, you still want to be a little picky and figure out who's going to be great for you. And I definitely also would recommend to deal with trainers that's they're owners as well, they're operators as well. They're not just training and they don't got no assisted living that they self. Always ask so so the trainings that we go through, we do them at the facility of the owner, the operator. So we know that they're got the real-time information, like the states, they're consistent with what the state's going with, the state's coming in and out of their place and stuff like that. So It's different when you dealing with somebody who's actually doing it themselves. You get a better, more insight when it comes to finding and picking the training program for you and your setup.
Well, normally you have to get CPR trained, recipient rights trained, medication trained, but I already had those trainings, so I didn't have to go through that. But yeah, normally you do have to do the recipient rights, CPR, medication.
Okay. So yeah, Maryland is a lot more detailed when it comes to the training. It's at 80 hours, and like you really got to be in there for 80 hours. And they go through a lot of stuff. I have the the training is in the 80-hour training is in the business in the box. It's in the assisted living starter kit. So even if you don't need those trainings, Sonia, still learn and continue to educate yourself as far as just how to run a facility. Like even if there's not like a lot of state requirements, you still want to hold your facility, hold your, your home at a high standard for your own well-being and, safety and liability. But then also when it comes to marketing and because obviously I'm sure this is not going to be your first, it's not going to be your only property. You're going to eventually want to do another one. And by creating a good high standard of safety, privacy, care and management and communication and all the things that just come with a great facility, you still want to have that. One thing I do notice in states that don't require licenses, it's like people, go to the low instead of go to the high. You feel what I mean? It's like they'll go to the lower standard they can pull off opposed to the higher standard that they can attain. Like they'll just do the bare minimum, the residents is eating whatever, it's just not the greatest situation for the residents because of the lack of licensing. So if you want to stick around longer,
I know what you're talking about as far as licensing, because I worked on the licensing side, so I am familiar with the licensing requirements with the group homes or assisted living.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is just keep, since you understand those standards, just raise your facility to keep your facility to those standards at all times. You know what I mean? Even though you're not licensed, at least it's still, at least have that level of structure and organization in your facility regardless. And it's just good, it's good practice too, because eventually I'm sure you're gonna want to get licensed. As far as finding the property, the site, the actual property, the state doesn't license people. A lot of times I get questions, people say, hey, can I get a home care assisted living license, but don't have no property? And I always try to explain to people that you're not getting the license, the property is getting licensed. And then you're the operator of the property or the license of the business, then you have the access to that. You have you're licensed with that property, but you can't just say, oh, I don't want this property, I'm gonna go across the street and now this property is licensed because you went across the street. No, the state has to come back out, do a whole nother go through the whole process again for each property. So the licenses are not transferable, and they're not like, you don't get licensed as an individual, you get the property gets licensed. So that's one of the things that don't own the license, you have to put. So Maryland requires a business plan for you to get before you to submit. I don't know if it's before, I think it's not, I don't think it's with the initial license. It's with the initial application, but I think it's during the schedule paper review is when they come and look at the business plan, or you might have to send it in. I don't remember exactly when you have to send it in.
They do it at the paper review. Well, that's the way this one was done.
Okay, so yeah, I just don't remember exactly what order it's in, but I know they require a business plan. You got to get the training. You got to have a house, and you got to have either show ownership, or get a verified lease, and it's a lease with the owner. And then Maryland also wants you to do a sketch for the house. This is something I would also suggest you do a sketch for your house, even though there's not a license requirement. Go ahead and do a sketch so you can also create a emergency route and an emergency, what's the little, it's like a board, it's like a little board that goes by the doors and the different exits. So you can have like an emergency exit signs throughout the property. You want to have this stuff because it's a requirement, you know, when you're getting your license. But again, you don't have to get a license, but I would still suggest getting it, doing a sketch, and then, you know, going to get it printed up, and then use it, and then, you know, you can outline safety routes for people in case of fires and stuff like that, or any other emergency where people have to leave quickly. Another thing I was going to say, is another thing I would suggest you do, and I just want to kind of cover some of the things that's kind of pertaining to your situation, is I would suggest you going to get a fire inspection. Oh, it's right here. But definitely getting a fire inspection report. Just had the fire department come out, and even if it's not a requirement, you can still call the fire department. There's no charge. You could just say, hey, look, I just want a fire inspection report done on this property, just so you can feel better about bringing families in there, you know, residents in there, and knowing that, you know, everything is up to code. There's no fire hazards. There's nothing, you know, that can hurt or hinder or cause a fire or hurt or hinder you when the residents are trying to leave, you know, trying to get out. If there is a fire, that's what they come and check. They come and check all the fire detectors. In certain areas, in certain areas in Maryland, they require fire sprinkler systems. You're lucky you don't got to deal with that. And I avoid counties that require that, because I don't like dealing with them with the sprinkler systems. And then also, what's those things called? Fire extinguishers. You want to have fire extinguishers throughout the house. So Sonia, is that house a multi-level or one level?
It's ranch, one level.
Okay, so do you have a garage?
Yep, it's a garage. Okay.
So like in the kitchen and utility areas, there's no basement because it's a ranch, right?
Oh no, it's no basement.
Okay, yeah. So like, you know, you just want to have fire extinguishers in the kitchen, obviously, utility room, at least those two places, one in the garage. I'm trying to think, there's no other place in the house. And if you had a basement, they would want a basement. And then you want smoke detectors in every room, and you don't want to allow zero tolerance on smoking. You can't smoke outside, nothing. Some people, you know, you get desperate for residents, you'll just take anybody, but you know, cigarettes it's just gonna keep you up at night. You know what I mean? Because if you got a resident who might be early onset dementia and they got a pack of cigarettes, that's not a good combination. You know, so even if you say, oh, you can go outside and smoke, and a lot of facilities allow that, I just don't tolerate it because of it's just such a, you know, one little thing can cause a lot of damage to your situation. And you got to remember, this is not just only your home, your personal resident, or even a property that you own. This is a business, and there's people's lives that you got to take into consideration. And most families understand that. And if there's a resident who does smoke, they just got to find somewhere else. But that's my personal opinion. You could do whatever you feel comfortable with. And obviously, they didn't ask you any questions about zoning or anything like that, but Maryland also requires you to go, you know, in different counties to, you know, get zoning permits and stuff like that, depending on amount of residents. So
you have to go through zoning if it's more than 6 people, and that's for licensed or unlicensed settings. Well, you have to be over 5, you have to be licensed anyway. But zoning is if it's over 6 people in the home.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much that's like the first steps that I would, think about. Are there any questions about any of this stuff here, or anything that you guys would want me to cover a little further in any of these bullet points?
No, for me.
No.
You're good, Valerie? Okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and gonna knock this one out, then we're gonna hop off. So Maryland requires a 4-week menu, and it has to be signed off by a nutritionist or a dietitian. That's just a requirement that they have. You have to outline your staff structure. Let me pull up a menu for you guys here. I think I got a menu too that I had already. I had this stuff ready for you guys. Who?
I use Alvin, I use Grove menus. You heard of them?
Post that in the thing, because we be struggling. Every time I hold on, I think I'm almost ended the zone. Yeah, send it, post it in the group so we can check it
I
out.
don't have the address. Let me look that up right quick.
Okay. I was gonna pull up a menu for y'all. Yeah, I was gonna pull up a menu. Let me pull up a menu here. Did I pull it up already? No, that's not it. All right. And then the training thing that we had in the assisted living starter kit, there's multiple different menus to choose from. There's a let me pull it up here so you can see like all the different menus. It's actually a Excel spreadsheet that has all the different menus. So it has menus for diabetics. They got like menus for everybody. I'm not gonna spend too much time looking for because I don't know exactly where it's at. I should organize this stuff better. Parade menu. Okay. Parade. See, that's an Excel. Let me see if this.
Yeah, so with the Grove menus, what I liked about that they come, dietitian already has signed them and you just print it out yourself. You can create your shopping list from the menu. It's and then it's like I think I paid $150 for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is keep rerunning it after that. I mean, you wouldn't even need to get 6 months. You could just do a month, just mix and match.
I just needed the dietitian part, so
yeah.
I figured for $150 for and it came with 6 months. Then
that's a really good deal. Like, I wish I knew about that because I mean, it's fine because the dietitians, when you find them locally, they be charging like $300.
More than that. I talked to someone.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, she was. I mean, we was up to $750, and she still was talking. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you talking about?
What was
Right.
her
You're
name?
not even about to have to, because they know. See, they just honing in on the fact that they know that we need it. So they going, they do that. That's what they do. They just petty. I get it. Like, I guess if that's, if that's all, if they struggling in their business, I guess they got to do what they got to do.
And I mean, it took me longer to research them, get in contact with them. Then when I found the Grove menu, I mean, I literally signed up for Grove, talked to a support person, and printed the menu in like 10 minutes.
Exactly. Oh no, Valerie, I was saying post it in the group so we could everybody. Yeah, in the cohort Facebook group. But I'll do it. I could just snatch it off of here.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's that menu? Okay. So here you'll see. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
Y'all see the menu?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So like they got like you could change the menus down here. They got different menus. For different types of diets. So just this for multiple sclerosis. Oh, mesh soft, 2 gram, heart health. But she already then, so what we would do, we would just print this out and then take it to a dietitian, and then they'll look at it and then sign it. And then they want to charge, like she said, three, she said 700. That's crazy.
I mean, she was still talking at 750 talking about, and she might have to do an addition because she was like had an hourly rate and was up to 5 hours. I said to look at the piece of
to look at it. Yeah, like they acting like they gotta create it. Yep, that's the same thing I'll be dealing with. So I'm glad you that's why I like doing these things, because I'll be learning stuff too. So yeah, they require that, and that's one thing I would suggest you do as well, Sonia, for yours. Again, because there's no license requirement. There's no because there's no license, that you can kind of just get away with stuff, but I would still suggest going ahead and actually doing the stuff yourself anyway, and keeping that standard. One thing I would also suggest is just posting a menu monthly, like a 4-week menu on the board, so people can know what they're gonna eat and stuff like that. And or they have questions about the food or what the menu gonna be, they'll know in advance if they want to get some different food, or they can have requests. As long as it makes sense for you, you should be able to do it. I like Sam's Club. Sam's Club usually does great. It's another place that you could get food from called US Foods. A lot of people use. That's for bigger facilities most of the time, but you can still get some good discounts and stuff like that. But it's more bulk. It's for more bulk stuff. So hold on, high flow menu control. When you're thinking about getting your staff, I would suggest, or do you have a room? Do you have a space for a live-in? Well, you're gonna be the live-in. Yeah, you're gonna be living there. So I wouldn't, yeah. So like if you was doing a property that nobody, and you wasn't planning on being there, I always suggest hiring a live-in and having that live-in trained up as your manager. And I guess another point to mention is that we have a manager's training. That's something that we go through. That's the training that Maryland makes you go through. And you're not having that training is kind of almost a disadvantage, because you don't get the teaching of the management training. But the beauty of it is that you got it anyway, because you got it in this program. You could go through our manager's training documents and get everything you need from there. Have you been in there? Have you been looking around on the assisted living startup kit, Sonia?
No, that's why I was asking you.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you should have got that when you signed up for the cohort. It was in your first email.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Oh no, I sent it to you again. Don't worry. I'm gonna just post it in the group. I'll post the link in the group so you can find everything in the same place. Let me go to the Zoom.
Thank you.
We can post that other thing, and well, I don't want to mess because I'm already struggling. I'll post it when I'm done. But what you can do is you'll go in there and get all your contracts. So the state is sending them, so that your contract to the state, you're going to be signing their contracts, right? You don't have to present them with any contracts, do you?
No, I don't want. 3 are coming from the VA, and then they have their own separate program from the state. They have their own set of rules and regulations and requirements.
Okay, but you want to make sure, huh?
So when you say they coming from the VA, like, is that Alan, does that differ from when like here in Maryland, when persons have VA monies that I guess they receive like benefits.
Yeah, they pay. You could go to the VA and they'll send you residents. If you can go work with the VA as the licensed facility. Yeah.
Also, that's two separate things, because I have someone that called me a resident that and from what she explained, it's like she receives VA benefits. And then in addition to that, she had other methods that she was using to pay.
No, they're all VA, they all military. So they veterans. So
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I was just trying to see. So that sounds like it's two different things.
Two different programs.
Yeah, what Sonia is doing sounds like that's different from what this resident was asking me about accepting VA money.
Because the resident themselves was looking for care, right?
Right.
Whereas Sonia, she had the VA office or a social worker sending her the residents directly. Yeah, so that would be different.
So then you have to so when they send to, I guess, to be a licensed facility for VA to accept VA
residents
participants, yeah, I guess. What do you have to do for that? Is that a special licensing?
No, you just go register. Just call them, and call the local VA office, and then you just register with them. You just give them your information and let them know that you have beds available for veterans.
So when you say
they
local,
pay on the level of care. Each person don't get the same rate. It varies.
And that's what that's why I don't get into it with none of the state run programs, because they always be just beneath what we looking to get. That's why I personally don't go after it. But the VA is definitely, all you do is reach out to your local VA.
And when you say local VA, so I'm here in Bowie area, so would that be the DC office or Maryland?
Yeah, just Prince George's. Yeah, just do PG VA and see what come up. Virtual veterans office. Hold on, I'm gonna look for you real quick. I just want to see myself where it would send you. One of my clients is doing it, but she's in PG. I mean, she's in Virginia. And she just went straight to the veterans see they got Veterans Affairs, Department of Veterans. So it's one in Clinton, it's an office in Clinton, it's an office in Temple Hills, and then they got one in Camp Spring, but that's probably for Southern Maryland. So Department of Veteran Affairs, that's where I would start. And I'm gonna put that link in the chat on the thing for you as well. So let me post that for you now, so I forget.
So what for the state of Maryland? I was on the website, the OHQC website today, and they had home health. So is home health actually the RSA?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but they had home health, and then they have health care services.
Yeah, you don't all them different things. It can get confusing, but they talking about the same thing.
Right, but they got two separate lists for it, is what I'm saying.
What do you mean for actually like different services?
I don't know. I'm gonna go back on it. Maybe I mixed up something, but you have categories where you can select the licensed facilities or licensed.
So when you was looking at them, like all the different ones you could search.
Yeah, so like they have assisted living, all the assisted livings that are licensed in Maryland, and then they have rehab outpatient, and they have adult medical daycare, they have hospice.
Just when you just look on and click on it and see exactly what the names of them are, and then you can see exactly what they about.
Right, yeah, I'm looking at it now, and one of them is saying home health care, and the other one is saying health care. So I'm like,
so click on the healthcare one and see what they actually talking about. That's it. And what I was going to mention about the staff when I had said that how we got into the manager's training was I was going to say that besides being, if you're going to be the manager, you're the manager. But I mean, you're going to be living there, so obviously you're the manager or your own property. But if you was to not be there, you would either have to continue to be the manager or hire a manager, an assisted living manager. And then also Maryland requires you to have a backup manager. It's called an alternate. And then Maryland also requires you to have an alternate location. So if something happens to your property, do you have another facility, probably like a neighboring facility or somebody close? It doesn't have to be vacant or anything like that. It's just you want to make sure they want to see something on your paperwork that says that if something happens to your facility in an emergency, they have to leave the residents to have somewhere to go. Chances are you'll never need it, but that's something you should think about implementing for yourself, even though it's not a requirement. And then also when we talk about stuck staff again, we like to all our caregivers have to be med techs. So the CNAs have to be med tech certified, meaning they can pass meds. And then they also have another certification that you have to get to pass that the manager has to get for the narcotics, to be over the narcotics. And then also, I'm not sure if the CNAs have to get that extra certification. I gotta ask, right? I can ask, but I'll ask and let you guys know. But I don't think that the med techs have to have it, but that there has to be somebody has to get a certain certification to pass to have narcotics and to manage the narcotics if there are going to be narcotics in your facility. That's just something that Maryland requires. So the ideal staff structure for me is obviously your nurse. You got to have a nurse anyway. You got to have a delegate nurse. A delegate nurse is someone who's trained, has a certain certification to manage assisted living. So you can't just have any old RN. It has to be an RN. Every RN isn't a delegate nurse. I thought they were, but they're not. There's actually more training that they have to get. They can do it in the weekend, but it's something that they have to have. So your delegate nurse, your manager, your live-in, and then another caregiver, depending on the size. Or do you need another 2 caregivers or another 1 caregiver to manage that facility, that home, or that residential assisted living? So those are pretty much and then when it comes to workman's compensation, workman's comp, how we avoid dealing with workman's comp, we send in a exemption, a workman's comp exemption, and then that allows us to have caregivers without having workman's compensation. So we paying them as independent contractors instead of W-9. Oh, what is it? W-2? Yeah, W-2 employees. They're not employees. So that's just how I get around workman's comp.
If you do it that way, they can get up to 40 hours.
Who?
The workers.
What do you mean?
Without the insurance.
Without the workman's comp?
Oh, you talking about working comps. Oh, never mind. I thought you was talking about insurance. Never mind.
Oh, no, yeah, that's workman's comp. Workman's comp. That's in case like your employees try to, they get hurt on the job and they try to, run a bill up on it. Yeah. So we avoid that by just making, hiring them as independent contractors. So the license, so since you did mention the insurance, it surprised me that most states don't require assisted living to have insurance. Like Maryland don't require you to have no insurance. Like you don't have to have insurance. You insane if you don't have none, but it's not no requirement. And it's just weird to me that they don't require it. But and how I know they don't require it is because I went to somebody's facility and I said, who's your insurance? They like, what you mean? I got renter's insurance. I said, renter's insurance on your assisted living? That don't even make sense. But you can get.
So what insurance are you referring to? Professional liability?
Yeah, for your facility. like similar to the home care insurance, but it's a certain package that you can get for your assisted living. It covers
And what's the name
your
of that?
assisted living insurance.
Yeah,
But
I'm not familiar with. I mean, only insurance that I have
so
is for professional liability. So
who you
that
got your insurance through?
it's a place out in London. I forget the name. I don't have it in front of me.
Lloyd's of London.
Yeah.
Lloyd's of London. Yeah, that's the underwriter. That's who I got too. Everybody basically got them. But whoever gave you that, like who's your policy, who wrote it up for you. But
right. But I'm saying, so that's what you are referring to, your professional liability insurance.
I'm gonna post exactly. I'm gonna put it in the group exactly what I'm referring to, so you could have a clear understanding of what I'm saying.
Oh.
And because I'm sure it's that, but then it's some other stuff that they got in it. This and it gets expensive, and then a lot of facilities won't. A lot of insurers won't, and they might start back now, but it was hard to get insurance during COVID, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you who you had, because I've been looking around to
but I think it's getting back to normal now.
So who did you go? Oh, that's what you're posting, who you went through?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm posting it now. And the crazy part about it, it looked like they took it off their website. They didn't take it off their website. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Because it's not, it was right on the front page with the rest of the insurance. Because they covered they always would say small assisted living. I don't know what that means, but I was never big enough to worry about it. But they always say small facilities. But it's the solutions group. It's the same people. I'm just trying to find out where is it at on their web, if they took it down or not. It's the same people I use for the home care insurance. It's just a little. Anyways, I'll keep looking for it. But that's pretty much how I like to staff it, because the staffing is gonna is where you're going how you staff is gonna determine how much money you make. Period, point blank. If you staff wrong, you ain't gonna make no money. Some people will try to get, so the way I do it, I always like to have a live-in, because that hourly rate gonna kill you. So if you have somebody where if you have a situation where you don't have no live-in and oh, here you go, I found it. I was still looking for a spot. Where you paying everybody hourly, that them hours are add up, especially now with the rates, $15 an hour minimum, that's where we starting at now for home care. These caregivers, they working 40 hours a week, 50, 60 hours a week. That'll add up. That's gonna cut right through your profit. Whereas you can get a live-in. The live-in ain't working all day. It's not like they're only working 13 hours. That they only legally can work 13 hours a day a live-in. but you know, it's a rate, it's a daily rate opposed to hourly, where they leaving, but you still end up paying the caregiver who's not going to be there all day round the clock. You know, the same way the caregiver would get, you know, a live-in would get, and you know, and you still got those holes in your shit in your schedule that when nobody won't be there. Because even though the live-in may not be working at that moment, and you might have another caregiver there, or you know, like a part-time, there's still somebody like always on the scene. You know, and it's just like your eyes and ears. And that's also who I suggest and recommend that you turn it into your assistant, your alternate manager. Go ahead and get them trained up to be a manager. And you might got to pay them a little more, or just offer them the training, you know, tell them you're going to pay for them to get trained as a assisted living manager. And, you know, that's the benefit of working for you. And you don't have to pay them anymore for that, or, you know, it's however you negotiate it. But I just posted that assisted living insurance link in the group. Yeah. So that's what makes sense to me when it comes to structuring the staff. Like I said, it's the nurse, it's you as the manager, it's the delegate nurse. That's just, she comes there, you know, periodically, every 45 days. Is mandatory, but you know, I would try to get them in there at least every other week, just to, you know, do their rounds, come check out everybody, make sure there's no changes in care, no declines and stuff like that, what's going on. And it's always good to just have the nurse familiar with the residents, like really familiar with them. So, you know, when things do happen, or they can see things that non-medical people can't see. You know, like me, I don't have a nurse, I'm not a CNA, I'm not nothing medically. So, you know, they can be standing there, they look just fine to me, but it'd be really something going on. They be, you know, dealing with some issues, they diet and stuff like that. And then you definitely want to make sure you got, you know, a notebook, and you keeping good documentation on each one of your residents. You want to build up files and have everything should be getting documented. And I'm only stressing this because in Maryland, it's a requirement, but you don't have that requirement. But I think it's still good practice to make sure you document every little thing, slips, falls, changing diet, changing, you know, care, whatever is going on with your residents. You want to make sure that stuff is being documented. It's just good business management, but then also it's good for their health and well-being, because you know, you can catch something. You can catch something and possibly save their lives if you know, see something, you know, you catch something early. But other than that, that's how we, you know, would like the staff. So the live-in, the nurse, the manager, the alternate manager. You're not paying the alternate manager anything, and then you got a caregiver. You might can get, if you don't have a full house, you can probably get away with a 6-hour or 4-hour a day shift to help out alongside the live-in. But if you have a full house, you'll probably have to have a live-in and then a full-time caregiver that's coming in probably 40 hours a week. Again, this is if the property is a property that you're not going to be in at all. But if you're there, then it's going to probably be a little different. Obviously, you won't need as much help. But it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to stop there, and then we're going to, you know, because this is the last few trainings that we're going to do. We're going to still be meeting every week, but once we get to this assisted living stuff, we're just going to kind of dive in on everybody's individual situation, so we can make sure that you guys experience some type of success. I'm really excited that Sonia has got that situation. You created that situation, you know, because last week you was like, or the week or two ago, you didn't even have nothing. You're like, I don't know what's going, you know, now here, boom. So I'm glad for that. I'm really excited. And I'm looking forward to hear how things work out for you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Yeah, congratulations. You did that thing. She went from like talking about she couldn't do this and to waiting to not waiting to bam, y'all take this.
And that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go. Folks be lazy though. That's so that you got to pat yourself on the back for that.
Definitely.
No,
The
I
folks
mean
is-
for real. Talk.
oh
People
no,
be talking
absolutely
all
you
day
do. You're
long
right.
saying they gonna this, that, do. You did that thing.
Yeah, they'll talk you to death.